now that the dust has finally settled a little bit since Jon Jones' accident on Sunday. I want to know what your reaction is to everything that's gone down.
Well, obviously an unfortunate situation. You know, now we're down that championship fight between Jon Jones and Anthony Johnson. And, of course, when you look at the parties involved in the accident itself, and, you know, we got to be honest here, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the sport, which means he's representative of the whole sport. It's a big difference than if it was just kind of a newcomer coming to the UFC that it happened to. So, very unfortunate.
Well, as you said, Kenny, the best pound-for-pound fighter on the roster. So that's why I think that this was such a great move by the UFC, because it sends a clear message that even the first guy on the Fight Pass prelims or the best fighter in the world, you're going to be held accountable for your actions.
Well, I want to bring everybody up to speed because it has been a wild week for all of us at UFC Tonight, and it's been even wilder for the former light heavyweight champion Jon Jones. Here's a look at the whirlwind of events of the last 4 days. Sunday, Jones was allegedly involved in a 3-car accident, injuring a woman. He fled the scene, leaving marijuana in his vehicle. Monday, he turned himself in, posting a $2,500 bail. Yesterday, he appeared in court and was later stripped of his title by the UFC and suspended indefinitely. And this morning, the 27-year-old was pulled from the UFC rankings, and Reebok terminated their endorsement deal with the former light heavyweight champion. Guys, what do you want to see out of Jon Jones now and in the near future?
Well, you know, unfortunately, we're seeing this kind of pattern of self-sabotage. So what I would like to see is some kind of personal healing, some kind of rehabilitation. You know, I don't know if it's psychological or some kind of drug treatment that needs to take place. I'm not sure, because, you know, when you look at what happened with the accident, if you're in a car accident, you stay there. You see, you know, if anyone's injured, you stay there. You don't just flee for any reason. So to me, that's a little fishy. To me, it indicates maybe there's something else going on. And, you know, I would like to see him get the help that he needs, you know, be with his family, recover that way, take care of this, get these legal proceedings behind him, and hopefully we get the chance to see him back in the octagon again.
Yeah, ultimately, I would like to see Jon Jones learn from this whole experience. Listen, he's going to be punished. He's been stripped of the title. He's lost deals. He's going through criminal proceedings. But is he going to be sorry? You know, it wasn't that long ago. We saw him, you know, he was in trouble. He was in hot water with the whole cocaine thing. And here we are again, just a few months later. I want to see Jon learn from this. He's not a bad person, you know. He's made some mistakes. Yeah. Learn from these mistakes.
He's made some mistakes. I agree with you. Not a bad person at all. Well, folks, of course, we did have the chance to speak with UFC President Dana White just minutes after the news broke yesterday that Jones was suspended, and we asked him what went into the decision to strip him. Let's take a listen.
Well, obviously, the first thing we wanted to do is we wanted to sit in front of Jon Jones, sit in front of his lawyer, and you know, hear the facts of what happened that night from both of them, because there's a lot of misconceptions you know, and a lot of myths out there about what happened that day.
What was Jon's reaction after you told him this news?
Obviously, he wasn't, you know, he wasn't happy about it. He was upset, but it is what it is.
Is this a pattern we'll see from the UFC? Could other champions be stripped for similar issues?
Well, this is the first time I think it's ever happened. I don't think we've ever stripped a champion for violating the code of conduct. It's the first time. So, yeah, if you, I mean, guys have been cut for things for different reasons, and Jon Jones was stripped and indefinitely suspended. Was
DC the obvious replacement?
Yeah, absolutely. If you know, Anthony Johnson just beat Gustafsson, and Cormier just went 5 rounds with Jones. So he's the number 3 ranked guy in the world. I actually think he's the number 2 ranked guy in the world, but I don't make the rankings. You know, it's number 1, and in my opinion, number 2 versus you know, versus number 2 to see who the champion is.
Dana, did Jon get any guidelines for his return?
No. He obviously, Jon right now has to focus on his pending legal matters, and then I don't know. We'll see how this thing plays out.
Guys, I want to ask you a question. As athletes, you're often put in the position of being role models, like it or not. Do you feel that way? Do you feel a certain sense of responsibility?
Absolutely. You know, I think that, you know, for me, when I was coming up, whether I was on The Ultimate Fighter or fighting in the UFC, I always felt that I had to portray myself as a professional, make sure that I wouldn't give a bad name to my family and the people, you know, that I represented, especially my students back at Florian Martial Arts Center. And, you know, that's important. But if you have a fan, you're a role model. You have one fan, sure, and you're a role model. model, and you have to, you know, hold yourself to a higher standard. People are watching. Kids are watching.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to represent yourself, represent your family, and represent this sport to the highest level possible. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that the sport was kind of, you know, not given the credit it deserves. We've all worked very hard. The UFC have worked incredibly hard, and now we're here, we're on Fox Sports, you know. It's in the mainstream, but things like this will only deter and possibly detract and bring us back to the old days. So, of course, you know, we have to represent ourselves, you know, as we should.
And we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but when you see a pattern that's
I'm not perfect.
Right.
We all know
but when
this.
you see a consistent pattern, then you know there's an issue. Someone needs to step in and take control of the situation.